Jubilant FoodWorks, which is a part of the larger Jubilant Bhartiya group. It has multiple brands. The biggest one is Domino's, which is at over 2,000 restaurants across India. And you need to understand the flavor of the audience. That's where, sort of Pizza Hut failed. 4.3 or 4.4 rating under that on Zomato is not acceptable.
Thinking of like cricket's IPL, how do you manage search during that time?
Any of you puts a pizza in your cart right now, don't order it, just put it on a cart. The store will see it right away and they'll start preparing it.
When we think about these McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, we are always wondering about the ownership structure.
We are bringing AI into the whole process of making the pizza. The camera will tell you whether the pizza has been made well or not.
What is the most unusual request that you have seen? So first of all, good evening everyone. Perfect. So we have to thank first of all Soumya to take time from his busy schedule and join us. Just to give you his background, he was working with Jubilant, which owns the Domino brand in India. And he has moved from them to Swiss, and he's currently in the role of the CEO. So I have to admit this to everyone, that for whatever reason, I always did not realize that Jubilant owned Domino's. So I thought that we will start by just understanding the structure of like the brands and how the ownership is. Because this way you will also get the understanding of what just a simple landscape of how this industry looks like. So perhaps you can start there.
Yeah, sure, Professor. So hi, everyone. So basically Jubilant FoodWorks, which is a part of the larger Jubilant Bhartiya group, it has multiple brands. The biggest one is Domino's, which is at over 2,000 restaurants across India. The second one is Popeyes Chicken, which has a significant presence here in Bangalore. In fact, they started here in Bangalore. They have about 25-30 restaurants here in Bangalore itself and 50 plus across India. The third one is Hong's Kitchen, which you haven't seen here. It's present in the Delhi NCR belt. You have again about 30, 35, 40 restaurants of that. The fourth brand, which is an older brand, but it's smaller, it's Dunkin Donuts. They have now repivoted. They don't call themselves Dunkin Donuts anymore. They call themselves just Dunkin. And they have about 30, 35 odd restaurants. And then they have some sort of mixed cuisine, kind of like a highway cuisine kind of couple of restaurants, but that's pretty much their entire network. Additional to this, if you guys would have read, they've also acquired the Domino's business in Turkey and Eurasia, where they've got another brand which goes by the name Coffee. And I don't need to explain what they do because the name suggests that.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much. When we think about these McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, we are always wondering about the ownership structure more than just the corporate structure, which is these stores that we see, are these franchisee stores, is a corporate stores? And if they're franchisee, and you can talk about not just Domino's, but in general about the landscape. Yeah. How does that structure look like?
Yeah. So for Domino's in India, or rather Jubilant in the entire India, they don't have anything on franchisee. Very limited, I would say very minuscule, countable by hand stores which are franchisee, and that too in regions or areas where you cannot run the stores on your own, right? For the other players, some of them operate on a very strong franchisee model. Like if you have La Pino's Pizza, they operate on a franchisee model. McDonald's, they own their own restaurants, but it's a mix of both. But for us, Domino's in Turkey, it's a 90% franchisee model. And they have done it beautifully well. So within the same group, there are contrasting models. One is franchisee, one is non-franchisee. Both have worked well for us.
So Domino promises 30 minutes or it's free. What is the biggest constraint that you face in delivering in such a fast manner?
Right. So Professor, let me just start by saying in certain pockets of the country, which is growing, we are now committing 20-minute delivery, not 30. So we've moved from 30 to 20 and it's been a year, by the way. We piloted that in Noida and in certain pockets of Bangalore. And that's been doing really well for us. Now, coming to how we take care of that, how do we serve that? See, I think it's about standardizing the process, which is what Jubilant has done beautifully with Domino's. They've created kitchens that are process-wise. If you were to do a man movement mapping, which we technically do, that how much movement do I need to do in order to get something done? I think the best example of this is the Japanese. Their houses are smaller, the movements are lesser. Jubilant has done that really well across the kitchen. And if you allow me, I can just paint a picture of how
Absolutely.
the kitchen
Yeah,
is,
that will be really great.
how the kitchen is structured. So if you look from left to right like this, on the left side you would start with trays of the dough, the Domino's dough, right? And then there'll be a small station where you would take out the dough ball like your atta for the roti, and you would start hand stretching it, right? You would stretch it out and put it on a pan, or a, if it's a pan pizza, you put it on a pan. If it's a normal one, you put it on a tray, and then you'll pass it on to the next section. The next section, just right adjacent, think of Subway. You've seen those small cabinets which have that different salad toppings. So you'll have those different toppings. One section will be veg, the other would be non-veg. Very different sections. So in the veg section, if it's a veg pizza, the veg guy will come and he'll assemble the pizza. Everything is measured. So the scoop of for example, the sauce, the tomato ketchup is measured. You know that on small I have to put 1 scoop, on medium I have to put 2. So nothing takes time. You know how much vegetables, how much toppings you have to put. Once that's done, until this point, it takes hardly about less than a minute. Till this point, you then just straight put it into the oven. We have 2 ovens that are racked one on top of the other. Normal times we just use the one on the top. Peak times like IPL, cricket final, etc. we use both. Just put it in the oven. It will take 4 to 5 minutes depending on how many toppings are there. It will come out. You then bring it to the assembly station, cut it out, put it in a box. If you have to serve it for dine-in, serve it. Otherwise, put it for delivery. The whole thing less than 7 minutes. Everything after that is delivery. So the main bottleneck, Professor, is actually delivery. The process has been streamlined to such an extent where the making part is the easier one.
Perfect. No, I mean 7 minutes, just the baking, like baking and everything. That's just amazing. Like that's super, super fast. The second question is, as you mentioned about like events, specifically thinking of like crickets, IPL, how do you manage surge during that time?
So we've done that with tech. If any of you puts a pizza in your cart right now, don't order it, just put it on a cart. The store will see it right away and they'll start preparing it. The drawback to that is, if you don't order, that goes to waste.
So please don't do it.
But in order to take care of that, what Domino's has done is all of the pizzas very, very popular, right? There are very few unique pizzas that someone might put some 20 additional unique toppings, etc. to it, right? So when you order farm fresh pizza, right? Let's say Yashvardhan doesn't take it. Noor orders it. So the order that was ready for you, I'll give it to her. It's not been heated. It's just been assembled. I just have to put it in the oven. So you'll still get a hot pizza, and you would be very happy. You'll be elated because you ordered and you got your pizza in, let's say, 11 minutes. Right? So that's how we've been doing it with tech, is that as soon as I and I've seen this live. So I was at a store inside the kitchen. I put a pizza on my cart and they started seeing it. And after a few minutes, like I close the app, after a few minutes, it goes away. But in that time, the only drawback is they would have assembled the pizza.
So the next thing that I want to turn towards is this idea of startup and then think about experimentation as well. So I would say Domino's is like a mature brand, but I always say that you can always learn from, no matter that's the starting point, but we need to think about what will be the things that you would highlight that a startup can learn about how do you scale, how do you create that brand or operations which go hand in hand. Sure. What are the things you would say that someone who's thinking about a startup, thinking about a venture, should take in mind?
So, Professor, 3 things primarily for me. One is the way they have standardized their processes and their entire setup, right? Their dough, like the ones I was mentioning, the dough balls, they come in different sizes. Each size has a different tray. Everything comes from a central kitchen. The vegetables are cut, sealed, frozen in a particular order. Everything is sent, standardized, and everyone knows how much needs to be put. So standardization is one of the most important things that startups need to learn. Like, for example, your Zepto, Blinkit, all of these guys, they need to learn that, okay, when you're launching, and I think pretty much they're trying to do that, right? When you launch into a new market, you set up a model, perfect that model, and then move to a new market, right? The second thing is, so in my notes, I have it as a small store format, but what I'm trying to essentially tell you is keep the costs optimum, right? In going large, what brands and startups tend to forget is, while you're making a splash in the larger ecosystem by showing, okay, I am here, but what you're trying to do is you're creating a model which is never going to sustain. right? There are brands, I'm not taking any names, who have started restaurant stores that were so mammoth. They were flagship stores. And by the way, there's this phenomenon in India that the first restaurant you open, whether it's QSR, whether it's a premium restaurant, whatever it is, it's supposed to be your show and tell, right? That's supposed to be your flagship. The day you close the flagship means your brand is gone. It's never going to come back. And that should not happen. So you have to keep your costs, your structure minimal. So, I mean, these are a couple of things. The third thing is, which is something that Domino's did brilliantly. And if you may allow me, I will just compare it with Pizza Hut, is hyper localization, right? Domino's in India started the paneer makhani pizza, chicken pizzas. In fact, if there are people here from the East, you would know during Durga Puja, etc., you have pizzas which are very particular to the East. The toppings are, you will not get those pizzas here anywhere else. I tasted a few of those pizzas and they're amazing, by the way, and they're very particular to the East. You'll get them only in East. Similarly, in Gujarat, you'll have certain veg only pizzas which you will not get anywhere else. So that is something very important. You need to understand the flavor of the audience. And that's where, sort of Pizza Hut failed. And I'll allow you to ask the next question.
Yeah. So my question is, how is Domino's leveraging like AI, automation, or optimizing operations, and what are some challenges, if you might say, that we can think of in the future as it's coming up?
So Professor, when I painted the picture of how we make the pizza, one innovative thing that they sort of implemented when I was there was that after the pizza is made and you're cutting the pizza, you have to scan it under a camera. And when I was there, the machine was still learning this. So basically, you scan it under the camera, and the camera will tell you whether the pizza has been made well or not, whether it has the right number of toppings or not, whether it's got the right amount of cheese or not, everything, whether it's been baked properly or not. And if it's not, it's going to be discarded. So while we say we are going to deliver pizza to you in time, etc., we always follow that. The most important thing is quality food, getting the smile on the face of the customer. We don't want to lose the smile by sort of serving an ill-cooked or bad pizza, and that's pretty much why we are bringing AI into the whole process of making the pizza and then delivering it.
What is the most unusual request that you have seen, and how have you think about the execution that was done to deliver on that request?
So one of the examples is there was this order which we got where the person wanted on Valentine's Day a heart-shaped pizza. They wanted a heart-shaped pizza, and the store manager, everyone, they worked. There was a very diligent team. They did that. This was some time back. This was before I joined Domino's. And they worked around. They made a heart-shaped pizza and they gave it to them. And obviously, this couple was overjoyed. They loved it, etc. I think they put it on social media and all as well. And we brought back learnings from it. And what was the learning? That let's launch a heart-shaped pizza. So in the next month or so, you'll start seeing the advertisements of heart-shaped pizza.
This is for the Valentine's Day.
Yeah, every time around Valentine's Day, Domino's has these heart-shaped pizzas. And this was the inception of it. So basically, the message I'm trying to sort of deliver is, while it's a quirky, interesting sort of a anecdotal experience, the leadership team took learning from it. That, there are more customers who may want these heart-shaped pizza. There are these young couples who probably are busy the whole day and just order a heart-shaped pizza which comes to you in 20 minutes and maybe they get happy with it. But that they did it, and it actually works well for us.
Perfect. Do you want to share the other story as well? I really loved it.
Okay, sure.
Just to indulge me on
Right, sure. So I was at IIT Kanpur, and this was during my time at Jubilant. I was actually doing a sales visit, etc. And we have a store inside the campus at IIT Kanpur, and they randomly got this order of 200 pizzas, 200 personal pizzas, your Pizza Mania pizzas, and very randomly, it's not like pre-planned. Suddenly they got it. And this was like my first time seeing such a huge order. The team there was like completely unfazed. Huh? They were like chill as they can be. And I was like, oh my God, how are you going to serve 200 pizzas? There's nothing ready with you and all of that. I said, don't worry, we'll do it. Because this is like a normal thing for us. And they had these 50 sort of doughs that were hand stretched, that they had already prepared, kept ready. And the person who took the order, he discussed with the person who they had to deliver the order, The address of delivery was probably 200, 300 meters away. It was like a IIT Kanpur, some room where they had to deliver it. They were having a gathering there. So they said, hey, what we'll do for you is we'll give you these 200 pizzas and we'll give it to you in the next 1 hour. Not a problem. But we'll deliver it to you in batches of 50. So we won't deliver all the 200 pizzas together. We'll give you 50 pizzas, then 5 minutes, 7 minutes later, another 50, then another 50, and then another 50. And I actually saw those 200 pizzas being delivered in front of me. And I asked him after that, how is this like a normal thing or this? So he said, this is a very normal thing. Kids here do party. And for them, Domino's pizza is like the best thing. There's a 49 rupee pizza. Order that, get that in. And we serve this all along, and so we are very prepared for it. So they have this demand modeling that's done for that particular store, which suggests that once in a week they're going to get these kind of orders, 100, 150, 200 orders. So they keep those rolled out. And I said that let's say that you did not get these orders, you had 50 doors stretched out, what would you have done? He says normally also I get 50 orders, like 50 single orders or 25 two pizza orders. I'll get them because students, they'll go to the mess, they'll see what the dinner menu is and they'll understand, I don't want to eat that and I'll order a pizza. Because you'll get a wrap, you'll pretty much get a Frankie wrap at 180, 90 rupees. I'd much rather have a pizza for 49 rupees from Domino's.
So we have like a set of questions that was asked by the audience, and what I will do is I will read out the names, and if we can get the mic to those folks and they can ask the question directly to you, Soumya.
Yeah.
So I'm actually buying these two things from Rebel Foods. I'm not quite sure whether Domino's already employs that, but on the grounds of the conventional cloud kitchen model that they've deployed, which is where I think to your earlier question of also reducing cost in terms of capex by introducing a entirely no manpower based kitchen based out of I think Pune, and with their cold chain, which is to do with the wraps and pizzas that they serve. So they have already freeze dried all of the stuff, and then eventually towards the end of the order, they just do the toppings and the sauce, the only the garnishing part of things. So the question is idly around that: why hasn't Domino's sort of tried to deploy that kind of a model, given that the kitchen and delivery is something that already is happening, but a ghost kitchen of sorts?
Sure. So, Gitansh, right? So, Gitansh, I'll tell you, there was this project in the works of a cloud kitchen. But every company that's on cloud, if you read their financials, they're not doing well. Every company that's on cloud, Rebel is not doing well, right? And the idea behind that is, I for one, and a lot of people like me, don't trust cloud kitchens anymore. Like if you were to go and spot visit a cloud kitchen, you would be shocked at the kind of hygiene and quality stuff that's going on there. So for us in Domino's, and we did we actually put up glass walls on our kitchen. Please come and have a look at our kitchen. Just go to any store. There'll be a step for if you have a nephew, nieces. I'm pretty sure you don't have kids right now, but nephews, nieces, and anyone who has kids, the kids can also stand up on the staircase, on those stools, staircase, etc. And through the viewing gallery, they can actually see how the pizza is being made. So we want to keep everything transparent. And that's actually the ethos of what Professor earlier very rightly said, pecking order, quality cannot be compromised for us at Jubilant. That's like very clear. And with cloud kitchens, there comes this mental disturbance in the mind of a consumer. Ki kya bana raha hai ye? Like, what is he making? Are they living up to the standards of the brand or not? So, while Gitansh, I will answer this in a way saying that maybe that's in the works, but if they do it, and if you ever hear of Jubilant doing it, please be rest assured that they're not just going to make it a cloud kitchen. They're going to probably put up a couple of seats outside, very few, for people to have that comfort here. You can come there. Don't just make it completely hidden. That's not the idea of Jubilant.
So I just wanted to know that the current trend is changing. People are demanding healthier.
Yeah.
We were having this conversation before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
So just wanted to know, like, are there any upcoming menu shifts or something that Domino's is planning to address to that market segment?
Two different points here. One point is, we believe that India is at a point where China was 15 years ago in terms of food consumption, out of house food consumption, right? We're going to see that explosion in demand and the growth, the crazy growth that China saw 15 years back. over the next 10 years, right? We're going to see that in the next 10 years in out of home, because what's happening is the increasing incidence of young couples both working, not cooking at home, ordering in, etc. is increasing. So from a food industry standpoint, the food industry is going to grow crazy, right? Now, from a health standpoint, um, see, I think it's a mix. Apurva, if you were to take a brand like Domino's or McDonald's and say, I'm going to become healthy, I think that's not fair for the brand. I think it's a repositioning. It's like a complete repositioning of the brand, and that's crazy. Rather than that, the better idea would be as a part of the group, bring in another brand that resonates with healthy. Bring in something like a salad bar or Get Fresh or something like that. Launch that. That's better than saying that I want a salad pizza. I'm not going to order a salad pizza from Domino's.
So this is more towards the 20-minute delivery thing
Yeah.
that Domino's is doing very hyper locally around densely populated areas. Now we have a couple of these 10-minute, 15-minute food delivery apps that have come in. So in that quick delivery food segment, how do you plan to strategically position Domino's as a strong player and still not lose that 60% of in-app orders?
So Harsh, you're correct in one thing that Domino's is obviously the biggest brand for them, and that's the ones that's making them the money, right? So when it comes to these 10-minute deliveries and all, there have been a lot of discussions on this across social media, LinkedIn, etc., etc. I think the fine line in a quick delivery, especially with food, not with grocery, is for you to understand what is being cooked and what is just being reheated and served, right? If something is being cooked, it's going to take time. Like, just imagine when you were probably at home before your 12th or 11th and your mother was making some food for you. You could be as hungry as possible. Like, you could be crazy hungry, but your mom will take the amount of time it takes, right? She'll say ki, the usual line used to be khana acha tab banta jab time lagta hai. Now, what's happening is, because we are in such a fast-paced world, we want everything to us in 10 minutes. But whenever you order, be careful on whether it's just being reheated and served to you, because most of the things that are now being delivered in 10 minutes is either just being assembled and given to you cold, or it's being reheated. Now, when I bring Domino's into this picture, remember Domino's was the pioneer of fast delivery. They started 30-minute delivery when no one even knew 1 hour delivery, when no one even knew delivery was possible 20 years back, right? So I don't think Domino's is at all in a space where they are losing mind or tension over the fact that there's another player offering delivery in 10 minutes. They're two very different industries. Domino's is giving you good quality food, which is baked, assembled, fresh, and given to you. The other guy is questionable. And that's something you need to identify, whether it's being actually cooked in 10 minutes or it's just being reheated and given to you.
Thanks, Soumya, for joining us today. So culture happens to be one of those things that is sometimes understated but is essential. I see the number of times you've spoken about quality today, standards, the size of operations Domino's has and Jubilant has. What steps did you folks undertake to actually ensure that culture within the team, especially the frontline force, is at par, something that continues to sustain the brand that you were trying to set out from the day go?
Correct. So I'll tell you one thing that I heard my CEO in one of the sales reviews that he had for Domino's, right? He projected each store manager to be the CEO of the store. That's the culture we are building, or that's the culture they are building, right? The culture is simple. You're the owner of your store. Now, as the owner of your store, how do you project your store to be the best? How do you uphold the standards of quality, delivery, profitability for that matter? There's a huge pressure, by the way, on every store to deliver profitability. And every store that doesn't deliver profitability is flagged and shared across the entire leadership team to say that these are the stores which are loss making, etc. Right? Which is counter to what many businesses are doing these days, but a huge focus on profitability at a granular level. But we also track that you don't just get profitability by forsaking quality or by forsaking delivery. So along with that revenue, what is tracked is, what is the rating of your store? If the rating of your store, and there are certain standards that have been set that, for example, 4.3 or 4.4 rating under that on Zomato is not acceptable. Anything under that, and you're flagged and you're shared with the leadership team. So every store manager is given the power to be the CEO, and they have been given that responsibility to say that please run this as you were running your own business. And in doing that, there's a culture that's come up. There were these anecdotes that I heard that when they started off, they used to have these sales competitions at the end of the year, these sales awards, which they used to call the Rolex Award, where and by the name of it, they used to offer a Rolex to the store or the few stores of the region which did the best or whatever it is. I don't know too many details, but this was a little while back. But that's the kind of culture they've built. Do well, be in the green line, and also deliver good quality. Keep your ratings up. It should not be that you're offline. Like some stores, because of rains and all, like if it's raining in Chennai, my store will have to be offline for some time, which means I can't serve any orders. This is checked the next day. And this is actually mapped with meteorological reports saying your rain was from 2 to 8. Why did you close your store from 2 to 12? That is the kind of conversations that happen within the teams at a granular level. And with that, what happens is everyone is tuned into the fact that nahi, yahan pe I can't do anything wrong. I have to be correct. I have to deliver that quality. One complaint. And the customers, they send complaints to the CEO directly, by the way. And he actually replies to each and every complaint, which is amazing. So that's the culture he's building for the company.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Soumya,
Thank you,
for
Professor.
coming in.